The editor of a Chinese state media publication has described Australia as, in quote, gum stuck to the bottom of our shoe, as the relationship between the once friendly nations waned during the coronavirus crisis. Okay, Australia is not a gum, you guys. It's not. Like, seriously, they even have the cheek to say something at this time. They should be apologizing to the whole world for the devastation they've caused the world. So arrogant. So arrogant. The cheek of China to even say something at this time. Wow. Australia is standing firm on its calls for an independent probe into the origins of COVID-19, sparking fury among Chinese diplomats who have threatened to cut economic ties with Australia. So China has repeatedly refused to welcome an international investigation into the outbreak. Why? Why would you refuse to welcome an international investigation? If you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't refuse that. And they most recently described the demands of Australia as political maneuvering. The deadly respiratory virus has infected more than 3 million people globally, including 6,729 Australians. So far, 212,000 people have died worldwide. Can you believe that? So many people have died, yet China has the cheek to start insulting people, to start insulting countries that have put their citizens first. Every country should have to put their citizens' health first. They shouldn't be insulting them. It's very, very rude of China, very arrogant of them. Xi Jin, the editor of the state-run Global Times, on Tuesday shared a post on Weibo saying ties between Australia and China will continue to deteriorate. Good. Who cares? As a bitter war of words, it threatened to escalate into a diplomatic disaster. After the epidemic, we need to have more risk awareness when doing business with Australia and also when we send our children to study there, he wrote. He's trying to threaten Australia. That's what he's trying to do. A sly country. Very sly. He says Australia is always there, making trouble. It's a bit like chewing gum stuck on the sole of China's shoes. Are you kidding? Like, I don't see many Australians actually going to universities in China or rushing to live in China. No, it's the other way around. So if anyone's like a chewing gum stuck on anyone's shoes, it's probably China. China is like a chewing gum on the Australian shoes, and not just Australia. They like chewing gum on the American shoes, on the British shoes, on the even African shoes. Like, they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. It's ridiculous. He says sometimes you have to find a stone to rub it off. He also admitted China would try economic coercion to bring Australia to heel, making a thinly veiled threat that time will prove it all. China, I just have one word for you. Pride comes before a fall. This is just the beginning. Pride comes before a fall. Massive fall. As its attitude towards China becomes worse and worse, Chinese companies will definitely reduce economic cooperation with Australia, he said. And the number of Chinese students and visitors going to Australia will also decrease. Time will prove it all. I mean, Australia did very, very well before China came on the scene, so I don't know what he's talking about. It's probably for the best if this actually starts happening. The less, the better. Australia should start encouraging manufacturing in Australia and start making deals with other nations, other countries that are more respectful and less of a communist country, really. We don't need a communist country dictating to us what we should do and how we should live our life. It's ludicrous. His comments echo those made by China's ambassador Zheng Cheng, who last week threatened a mass boycott of Australian produce. Threats, that's all China can do. Trying to bully people, trying to threaten people, trying to say, oh, we'll stop this, we'll stop that. Who cares? Who cares? Everyone is against you, China. You need to shut the hell up right now. This is the time to shut up and be humble. You've unleashed a mass devastation on the world. Instead of you to apologize and be humble, you start threatening people. How dare you? The cheek that you have makes me so angry. Australia responded quickly, making it clear the ambassador's comments were out of line. Of course it's out of line, and we shouldn't keep quiet. If they want to take everything away, let them take it away. We'll build ourselves back up and we'll be fine. We'll be stronger without China. I can guarantee 100% Australia will be much stronger in the long run without China. We don't need them. They need us more than we need them. The government has made our displeasure with those remarks known, Trade Minister Simon Birmingham said on Tuesday. Good. China accounts for 26% of Australia's trade, worth around $235 billion in 2018-19, and is the biggest single market for Australian exports, including coal, iron ore, wine, beef, tourism, and tertiary education. But Scott Morrison government stood firm in its decision, called for a global inquiry into how the virus spread from its epicenter in Wuhan and caused a global crisis. Senator Birmingham said Australia was a crucial supplier to China for imports, and energy helped power much of Australia's manufacturing growth and construction. COVID-19 has seen hundreds of thousands of people die around the world, millions of people lose their jobs, billions of people face massive disruption to their lives. Just imagine that so many people have died. And this didn't have to happen if all of this didn't originate from Wuhan, China. And then they have the cheek to start threatening people and start trying to blackmail people into investigating. Like, really, why would you do that if you don't have anything to hide? If your hands are clean, then open your doors and let there an investigation to see how this all came about. So the extraordinary diplomatic standoff comes in the face of the largest economic shock Australia has seen since the peak of the Great Depression in 1931. Businesses and jobs will be lost permanently as a result of the global pandemic. Treasury predicts unemployment to peak at 10%. The jobless rate was higher during the economic devastation through the 1930s, but the numbers steadily rose over the course of years rather than months. Treasury boss Stephen Kennedy says the virus is having an unprecedented impact on economies worldwide. He said, "We have never seen an economic shock of this speed, magnitude, and shape, reflecting that this is both a significant demand and supply shock." Dr. Kennedy believes the crucial financial ties between China and Australia can help both countries recover from the economic crisis. There is great economic return to Australia and continue to support Chinese development and growth through our trade relations. You don't need China. You really don't. They unleashed this virus on the world. It was made in a lab. It was made in a lab. The virus was made in China in a lab. Get it? That's the truth of the matter. That's why they're not wanting anyone to investigate. Unbelievable.